Absolute zero. Lowest possible temperature at which gas would have a zero volume. Absorption spectrum. Spectrum of electromagnetic radiation absorbed by matter when radiation of all frequencies is passed through it. Acceleration. Change in velocity divided by time interval over which it occurred. Accuracy. Closeness of a measurement to the standard value of that quantity. Achromatic lens. Lens for which all light colors have the same focal length. Action-reaction forces. Pair of forces involved in an interaction that are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Activity. Number of decays per second of a radioactive substance. Adhesion. Force of attraction between two unlike materials. Air resistance. Force of air on objects moving through it. Alpha decay. Process in which a nucleus emits an alpha particle. Alpha particle. Positively charged particles consisting of two protons and two neutrons emitted by radioactive materials. Ammeter. Device to measure electrical current. Amplitude. In any periodic motion, the maximum displacement from equilibrium. Angle of incidence. Angle between direction of motion of waves and a line perpendicular to the surface the waves are striking. Angle of reflection. Angle between direction of motion of waves and a line perpendicular to the surface the waves are reflected from. Angle of refraction. Angle between direction of motion of waves and a line perpendicular to the surface the waves have been refracted from. Angular momentum. Quantity of rotational motion. For a rotating object, product of moment of inertia and angular velocity. Annihilation. Process in which a particle and its antiparticle are converted into energy. Antenna. Device used to receive or transmit electromagnetic waves. Antineutrino. Subatomic particle with no charge or mass emitted in beta decay. Antinode. Point of maximum displacement of two superimposed waves. Archimedes' principle. Object immersed in a fluid has an upward force equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the object. Artificial radioactivity. Radioactive isotope not found in nature. Atomic number. Number of protons in the nucleus of the atom. Average acceleration. Acceleration measured over a finite time interval. Average velocity. Velocity measured over a finite time interval. Back EMF. Potential difference across a conductor caused by change in magnetic flux. Band theory. Theory explaining electrical conduction in solids. Baryon. Subatomic particle composed of 3 quarks. Interacts with the strong nuclear force. Battery. Device that converts chemical to electrical energy consisting of 2 dissimilar conductors and an electrolyte. Beat. Slow oscillation in amplitude of a complex wave. Bernoulli's principle. When a fixed quantity of fluid flows, the pressure is decreased when the flow velocity increases. Beta decay. Radioactive decay process in which an electron or positron and neutrino is emitted from a nucleus. Beta particle. High-speed electron emitted by a radioactive nucleus in beta decay. Binding energy. Negative of the amount of energy needed to separate a nucleus into individual nucleons. Boiling point. Temperature at which a substance, under normal atmospheric pressure, changes from a liquid to a vapor state. Breeder reactor. Nuclear reactor that converts non-fissionable nuclei to fissionable nuclei while producing energy. Bubble chamber. Instrument containing superheated liquid in which the path of ionizing particles is made visible as trails of tiny bubbles. Buoyant force. Upward force on an object immersed in fluid. Calorimeter. Device that isolates objects to measure temperature changes due to heat flow. Candela. Unit of luminous intensity. Capacitance. Ratio of charge stored per increase in potential difference. Capacitor. Electrical device used to store charge and energy in the electrical field. Capillary action. Rise of liquid in narrow tube due to surface tension. Carnot efficiency. Ideal efficiency of heat engine or refrigerator working between two constant temperatures. Centripetal force. Force that causes centripetal acceleration. Chain reaction. Nuclear reaction in which neutrons are produced that can cause further reactions. Charged. Object that has an unbalance of positive and negative electrical charges. Charging by conduction. Process of charging by touching neutral object to a charged object. Charging by induction. Process of charging by bringing neutral object near charged object, then removing part of resulting separated charge. Chromatic aberration. Variation in focal length of lens with wavelength of light. Circular motion. Motion with constant radius of curvature caused by acceleration being perpendicular to velocity. Clock reading. Time between event and a reference time, usually 0. Closed, isolated system. Collection of objects such that neither matter nor energy can enter or leave the collection. Closed pipe resonator. Cylindrical tube with one end closed and a second source at other end. Coefficient of friction. Ratio of friction force and the normal force between two forces. Coefficient of linear expansion. Change in length divided by original length and by temperature change. Coefficient of volume expansion. Change in volume divided by original volume and by temperature change. Coherent waves. Waves in which all are in step, are in phase. Cohesive force. Attractive force between similar substances. Complementary color. Two colors that, when added, produce white light. Two pigments that, when combined, produce black. Compound machine. Machine consisting of two or more simple machines. Compton effect. Interaction of photons, usually X-rays, with electrons in matter resulting in increased wavelength of X-rays and kinetic energy of electrons. Concave lens. Lens thinner in center than edges, a diverging lens. Concave mirror. Converging mirror, one with center of curvature on reflecting side of mirror. Conduction band. Energies of charge carried in a solid such that the charges are free to move. Conductor. Materials through which charged particles move readily or heat flow readily. Conserved properties. Property that is the same before and after an interaction. Consonants. Two or more sounds that, when heard together, sound pleasant. Constant acceleration. Acceleration that does not change in time. Constant velocity. Velocity that does not change in time. Constructive interference. Superposition of waves resulting in a combined wave with amplitude larger than the component waves. Convection. Heat transfer by means of motion of fluid. Conventional current. Motion of positive electrical current. Converging lens. Lens that causes light rays to converge, usually a convex lens. Convex lens. Lens that is thicker in the center than at the edges. Convex mirror. Creator of curvature is on side opposite reflecting side of mirror. Cosine. The ratio of the adjacent side to the hypotenuse. Coulomb. Unit of electrical charge. Charge caused by flow of 1 ampere for 1 second. Crest of wave. High point of wave motion. Critical angle. Minimum angle of incidence that produces total internal reflection. Crystal lattice. Structure of solid consisting of regular arrangement of atoms. de Broglie wavelength. Length of de Broglie wave of particle. Planck's constant divided by momentum of particle. Decibel. Unit of sound level. Dependent variable. Variable that responds to change in manipulated variable. Derived units. Units of quantity that consists of combination of fundamental units. Destructive interference. Superposition of waves resulting in a combined wave with zero amplitude. Diffraction. Bending of waves around object in their path. Diffraction grating. Material containing many parallel lines very closely spaced that produces a light spectrum by interference. Diffuse reflection. Reflection of light into many directions by rough object. Dimensional analysis. Checking a derived equation by making sure dimensions are same on both sides. Diode. Electrical device permitting only one wave current flow. Dispersion of light. Variation with wavelength of speed of light through matter resulting in separation of light into spectrum. Displacement, change in position, a vector quantity. Dissonance, two or more sounds that, when together, sound unpleasant. Distance, separation between 2 points, a scalar quantity. Diverging lens, lens that causes light rays to spread apart or diverge, usually a concave lens. Dopants, small quantities of material added to semiconductor to increase electrical conduction. Doppler shift, change in wavelength due to relative motion of source and detector. Dynamics, study of motion of particles acted on by forces. Effective current, DC current that would produce the same heating effects. Effective voltage, DC potential difference that would produce the same heating effects. Efficiency, ratio of output work to input work. Effort force, force extended on a machine. Elastic collision, interaction between two objects in which the total energy is the same before and after the interaction. Elasticity, ability of object to original shape after deforming forces are removed. Electrical charge pump, device, often a battery or generator, that increases potential of electrical charge. Electrical circuit, continuous path through which electrical charges can flow. Electrical current, flow of charged particles. Electrical field, property of space around a charged object that causes forces on other charged objects. Electric field lines, lines representing the direction of electric field. Electric field strength, ratio of force exerted by field on a tiny test charge to that change. Electric generator, device converting mechanical energy into electrical energy. Electric potential, ratio of electric potential energy to charge. Electric potential difference, difference in electric potential between 2 points. Electric potential energy, energy of a charged body in an electrical field. Electromagnet, device that uses an electric current to produce a concentrated magnetic field. Electromagnetic force, one of fundamental forces due to electric charges, both static and moving. Electromagnetic induction, production of electric field or current due to change in magnetic flux. Electromagnetic radiation, energy carried by electromagnetic waves throughout space. Electromagnetic waves, waves consisting of oscillating electric and magnetic fields that move at speed of light through space. Electromotive force, potential difference produced by electromagnetic induction. Electron cloud, region of high probability of finding an electron around an atom. Electron, subatomic particle of small mass atom. Electron diffraction, effects on electrons due to wave-like interference of electrons with matter. Electron gas model, description of current flow through conductors. Electroscope, device to detect electric charges. Electrostatics, Study of properties and results of electric charges at rest. Electroweak force. Unification of electromagnetic and weak forces. Elementary charge. Magnitude of the charge of an electron. Emission spectrum. Spectrum produced by radiation from excited atoms. Energy. Non-material property capable of causing changes in matter. Energy levels. Amounts of energy an electron in an atom may have. Entropy. Measure of disorder in a system, ratio of heat added to temperature. Equilibriant force. Force needed to bring an object into transitional equilibrium. Equilibrium. Condition in which net force is equal to zero. Condition in which net torque on object is zero. Equivalent resistance. Single resistance that could replace several resistors. Evaporation. Change from liquid to vapor state. Excited state. Energy level of atom higher than ground state. External forces. Forces exerted from outside a system. Extrinsic semiconductor. Semiconductor in which conduction is primarily the result of added impurities. Factor label method. Dimensional analysis. Farad. Unit of capacitance. 1 coulomb per volt. Ferromagnetic materials. Materials in which large internal magnetic fields are generated by cooperative action of electrons. First harmonic. In music, the fundamental frequency. First law of thermodynamics. Change in internal or thermal energy is equal to heat added and work done on system. Same as law of conservation of energy. Fluid. Material that flows, that is, liquids, gases and plasmas. Focal length. Distance from the focal point to the center of a lens or vertex of a mirror. Focal point. Location at which rays parallel to the optical axis of an ideal mirror or lens converge to a point. Forbidden gap. Energy values that electrons in a semiconductor or insulator may not have. Force. Agent that results in accelerating or deforming an object. Frame of reference. Coordinate system used to define motion. Fraunhofer lines. Absorption lines in the sun's spectrum due to gases in the solar atmosphere. Frequency. Number of occurrences per unit time. Friction. Force opposing relative motion of two objects are inconstant. Fundamental particles. Those particles of which all materials are composed. Fundamental tone. Lowest frequency sound produced by a musical instrument. Fundamental units. Set of units on which a measurement system is based. That is, fuse. Metal safety device in an electric circuit. Fundamental units. Set of units on which a measurement system is based. That is, meter, second, kilogram, ampere, candela. Fuse. Metal safety device in an electric circuit that melts to stop current flow when current is too large. Fusion. Combination of two nuclei into one with release of energy.